All right, welcome to the weekend video. This is Enda from bullwebs.org. This is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, God knows how many time trying this recording. So I'm just going to blast through it because this is quite taxing right now. Um, for those of you who've ever recorded videos, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm just going to blast into the FX markets and then go through stocks, gold, silver, crude oil, blah blah. You know the deal by now. If you haven't already subscribe, click the bell, blah blah, and I'll get on with this. Okay, this is euro dollar. It's a 4-hour chart, and this is the second wave correction that I'm working with. It's kind of a large flat pattern. There is a possibility that we may be building a triangle here in the center as a B wave. It's hard to count on that right now, seeing as, well, the action may support it, but it's a little bit of a stretch. I think this is an overall ABC pattern up in wave 2. I think that we have 3 waves down in wave B yet to complete. So I think we need another dip down into the 106.50, 106.40 area to complete that. And then we rally in wave C. So let's get into the hourly chart. Here you can see this large B wave that I'm working on. You can see that the way that the trade is contracting, like the range of the trade is contracting. That's kind of does allow for the possibility that we have a triangle underway here, maybe in wave B. If that were the case, then we would be completing pretty soon above this high here at 107.67. The action off that low isn't, or sorry, that low 107.67. The action off that low is not very impulsive, so it doesn't. It looks like we're going to take out that low. It looks like we're going to take out 107.25, which is what I'm looking for. And that will pretty much confirm wave C of C to complete wave B. And once we get down into this lower trend channel here around the 106.40 level, then I will begin to look higher in wave C. That'll be early next week. So one more leg down in wave C, and then we rally in the higher degree wave C to complete wave 2. And then we fall forever and a day. Okay, euro dollar next week. One more leg lower, and then we rally in wave C. Okay, pound dollar. This is the ever-loving chart in pound dollar that I'm not mad on, but it's here and it's working so far. We seem to be picking up pace to the downside today. No major acceleration, so that's a little. There's a little peppering of doubt still. We could be working on this daily chart alternate count could still be, it's still clinging on in the background there, and that would allow for a 3-wave rally up to that 130 level before falling again in 3 waves. So a continuation of this kind of range contraction over the last couple of years. For now, I'm working on the idea that wave 4 is complete and we're heading lower into wave 5. So far, so good this week. We're down, although we have not accelerated down just yet. So let's get to the hourly chart. You can see here that I'm tracking the possibility of a 1-2, maybe 1-2, and we're heading into wave 3 right now. So this would be wave 5 in green, so it'd be wave 3 of 5. And if that's the case, then we should be lower for most of next week, and we should, once this wave 5 or wave 3 completes, we should be down in the range of, let's get a look there just to see. Probably down around 116, 117 area in wave 3. So that'd be wave 3 in gray, and then we'd correct in wave 4 and 5 will come. So it's a developing pattern. It's working so far. There's a peppering of doubt, but we are stepping lower today. So that's again kind of a nod in favor, and we've broken this previous internal low of the last what was it, month and a half. This wave A low here was the lowest point for the last 6 weeks of trading, so we've broken through that today. I am quietly confident that we're moving into a third wave, but that will require an acceleration lower next week. But we'll just track that. We'll see how it goes. We definitely don't want to see any reversal higher than 123, let's say 123.40 level, that wave 2 high there. We don't want to see that breaking. We don't want to see that level broke again. Okay, let's get into dollar yen. Dollar yen, I am tracking again this very long, protracted triangle that's gone on forever and a day, and we may have completed wave E of B of that triangle. That is a B wave triangle, and we might be heading higher into a C wave. It's early days yet. We haven't taken out any of these previous internal highs, so that'll be that 109 level. Definitely this 108 level here in this shoulder needs to be taken out. We did have a worrying sell-off today, so it's early days and it's still too early to call, but I'm tentatively looking higher, probably possibly for the long term. You can't take nothing for certain in this life. Okay, here we have that E wave completing the triangle, and we have a possibility. It was a nice run up, late last week into early this week, so that was Monday and Tuesday, and then we started to sell off. I was calling this a fourth wave. We came within a pip of breaking the wave 1 high, so I didn't want to see that. We're moving higher again today, but the pattern is confusing in the short term, and it's too early to tell. I do want to see 5 waves up completed, a pretty clear 5-wave pattern up completed, and then a correction in wave 2. There is a possibility that you could call this high as wave 1, but there's no corresponding sell-off to match that wave 2. So that's kind of a stretch. Yeah, so I don't want to go with that, really, to be honest. Excuse me. I don't really want to go with that. If we do get a break of that wave 1 high again, that 106.65 level, I'm going to have to revert back to this decline in wave E again. For the moment, I'm looking higher, possibly towards an impulsive pattern developing next week, which should allow for a larger rally over the medium term. Okay, let's get into stock market. We've kind of grind to a halt today. We've rebounded in the futures this morning, and we've grind to a halt so far. I'm looking at another short-term pattern today, which will allow for that, but I'll get into that later. Wave A down is done. Wave B down seems to be done. We seem to have a series of impulse moves lower off that. We did get a bounce off this previous 4th wave low. I want to slice through that and stay through it, to be honest, as wave 3 develops. But the time will come for that. It looks like we're building a lower degree, lower high here. So we'll get into the hourly chart and show you how that's kind of developing. Off the B wave high, I'm looking at a series of 1-2 waves. So get into the hourly chart. Wave 1 and 2 in green, wave 1 and 2 in gray. So possibly an A, B, C pattern in wave 2. Would require a little bit lower, a little bit more of a sell-off in wave B to create a kind of a larger, let's say, zigzag pattern maybe. Right now, it doesn't look like we are declining into a 3rd wave just yet. I do expect that 3rd wave. I expect a third of a third decline in wave 1 of C. So we have this B wave here. So I'll be looking at wave 1 in blue down of wave C in red. This is the differing degrees that are happening right now. So right now it's looking at wave 1, 2, 1, 2 of wave 1. If this correction holds for the next couple of days, it will be the larger wave 2 that we'll be looking at. And that kind of 24,000 level again is we'd probably be drawn to that level to finish this second wave. ABC wave 2, and then towards the middle and end of next week we accelerate lower into a third of a third wave. That's the baseline scenario I'm working with right now. There's a kind of the thought in the back of my head that maybe wave 2 is already complete and we will head lower quicker into that. If we sell off on Monday and we break below that 23,000 level again, yeah, that would probably hint at the earlier start to wave 3 than I'm expecting right now. But suffice to say, a correction is now, and we should be heading lower in an acceleration lower in wave 3 next week. Okay, gold is doing quite well today. Anyway, it's been a grind sideways over the last month or so. This can be viewed as a fourth wave. It can be viewed. It can be viewed as wave 4 of wave 5 in red. This could be viewed as a series of 1-2 waves within a wave 3 of wave 5. This can also be viewed as a fourth wave within wave 3 of wave 5. So there's a myriad of ways that you could view this. For now, I'm kind of stretching towards the more bullish end of that spectrum, and I'll show you here in the ROA chart how that's working out. For the moment, today we have broken above that 1746 level. Let's see if that holds over the next few days, because that was a pretty important high. If this is wave 1, 2, and a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then that would suggest that we rally in a pretty significant way into a third of a third of a third over the next week or so. And if that's the case, we may even be looking at new all-time highs maybe by the end of next week. Who knows? But like I said, there's a few different kind of varying scenarios here, and I suspect over the next week or so we're going to weed out a few of those different scenarios, and we'll settle on one that will probably lead us for the next few months. Yeah, we'll probably settle on a wave count that will take us through the next few months. But the varying scenarios are all pointing higher, and the most bullish would be in a third of a third of a third. So if we start there, we can work backwards. Right now, we've broken above all these internal resistance highs that were created over the last month or so. So things are looking good. Even if it is a 1-2 wave, things are still looking good for the medium term for gold, and most likely we'll end up with a new all-time high by the end of June anyway. Okay, let's move out to crude oil. I didn't think that wave 4 in red here would make the previous highs of wave 4 in blue, but that being said, here we are. We're pushing above the pushing above the 29 handle again. Wave 4 topped out around that 31 level. Wave 4 in blue. I'm still counting this as a 3-wave pattern, flat correction, probably an A, B, C up in A, B, C down in B, and then a 5-wave rally in wave C. The corrections over the last week or so seems to have been just maybe a triangle, but that's a bit of a stretch to call it a triangle, I think. Let's get into the hourly chart and we'll see. I'm working with the possibility of an ending diagonal, although right now, given the fact that we've kind of rallied hard into this afternoon's trade, that now is becoming a stretch. You would have expected the market to hit that upper trend line and then head lower again. Next week, I'm still looking lower. This rally is pretty much done in my head, so I've become a little bit disinterested in it. The more interesting point right now, I think, is to the downside, and I think we'll get an impulse wave to the downside next week. I was working with this initially as the impulse wave lower, but that hasn't worked out. It seems to have been an expanded flat wave 4, and now we head higher into wave 5. However, that wave 5 is going to trace out is still up for discussion, but Yeah, I think we're topping out in wave C of 4. That'll be wave 5 of C of 4, and we should head lower down into wave 5 over the coming few weeks. Okay, that's crude oil done. The S&P and silver. So S&P 4-hour chart, again, working off a B wave high, series impulse waves lower, most likely heading into a wave 1 down scenario. Get rid of that fib level there. Wave 1, 2, 5 waves down in wave C should bring us lower in wave 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, another large lower high probably in wave 2, but a significant sell-off in wave 1 anyway to lead the way. I will get into we'll get into the hourly chart here and we'll see. This will be a series of 1-2s within wave 1. So if you can see that here, wave 1 in green, wave 2. So we'll be heading lower in wave 3 green, and that'll be wave 3 of wave 1, if you can follow. There's the B wave high, and let's say the undeniable kind of scary alternate here would be that this is just a correction. This is 3 waves down in a correction, and then we were heading higher, in another impulsive move. I don't know how that can happen, to be honest. Have we lost the complete, and have we lost every brain cell in our bodies or every brain cell in our heads that we would actually push the market up to new highs again, new all-time highs even? I don't think so myself. But anyway, this is the wave count I'm working with. It's a lower degree 1-2 wave, which should lead to an acceleration lower in wave 3 of wave 3. And if this wave 3 of 3 comes, I think that'll blow out any sort of, let's say, harbored hopes of a continued rally. Yeah, it should be strong enough. This third of a third should be strong enough to start bringing us back down to these, the 25, 2400 levels again, and it should do it in short order, like over the space of a week or 10 days, not even that, maybe just a week. And if that's the case, then we should watch out for a significant tradable lower high in wave 2 to lead us down into wave 3 next week. Okay. Silver is blasting higher. It looks like we are. We'll get into the hourly chart here. It looks like we're heading higher in a possible 5th wave of wave 1. So I should be, get to the 4-hour chart here. A 5th wave of wave 1 would allow for a 1-2 wave. If that's the case, then we will get some sort of reasonable sell-off towards maybe the end of next week, back towards that 1450 level, in around that shoulder, lower end of that shoulder there in wave 2, and then we would rally again in wave 3, and that wave 3 would bring us out above the $19 level again. Let's get to the hourly chart here. You can see triangle over the last few days, and then a 5-wave pattern out of that triangle. That'll be wave 1 of 5 complete. So I'd be looking for a short-term correction in wave 2 of 5, and then a rally in wave 3 of 5. Yeah, this one is it's a tricky one right now because the trade today and yesterday seems to have created a pretty high spike in momentum. So you would expect that to kind of be challenged next week. I wouldn't expect a serious follow through on that. We'll see on that front, but it looks like we've closed out 5 waves up, and this would be a 4th wave shoulder. So we'll be. I think it'd be prudent enough to expect some sort of a sell-off into a 2nd wave before we rally again in a 3rd wave. And that'll be wave 5 of wave 1. Okay. Yeah, wow, I did it. Hopefully this recorded well, and I can just post it up to YouTube and not have to do anything else with it. thanks so much for being with me this week. Thanks to all you guys who've joined this week, and blessings to everyone who doesn't. Um, check out the website anyway. There's always interesting content there. Until next week until later today or tonight for all you subscribers, and until next week again for you guys who ain't. Have a great weekend. Blessings to you all. Be good. Stay safe, and see you on the far side. Bye bye.